Tall Love. Chapter 9. The photography stuff had finally been fixed and tested, and Robin opened the email from Jellies, copy-pasted the 51 centimeters excerpt into the browser, and immediately got the result, 20.0787402 inches. His mobile rang, Bretta. She informed him that the first stage of Operation the Highest Madness had gone smoothly. "You may come in," she added. Climbing up the stairs, Robin's heart was pounding. He was about to see something completely out of this world, an 8-foot-tall girl in almost 2-foot-high platform boots. Was he the first man ever to see a real-life 9-foot-8-inch-tall woman? According to his research, he was indeed. He thought it was good he was wearing jeans instead of shorts or trousers made of soft fabrics, and knocked on the door. Nothing unusual. She was seated on the bed with her legs towards the window, so all he could see was her sharp knees above the duvet and her beautiful face wearing a smile. The smile was, however, enigmatic and, perhaps, promising. Well, you didn't need any assistance from anybody, including paramedics. How do you feel right now? Don't know yet, I was sitting down while putting them on. Time to stand up then? Okay, but close your eyes, please, she was still smiling. I'd rather not see you watch me fall down. It wouldn't be a pleasant sight, believe me. Watching anybody fall down is not a very pleasant sight, I'm afraid. Yes, but anybody doesn't normally fall down from heights like these, and she showed him the tip of her tongue. You're right, I guess. But in that case, you might need my help, I've got the bed to land on, should things go wrong. Besides, she never failed to tease him a little. I don't think your strength is sufficient to catch my weight falling from heights like this. You don't think so? He observed his own shoulders and arms as if evaluating his muscles, and then gave up. All right, convinced. Robin shut his eyes and heard the bed squeak, then a gasp, a moment of silence, then a soft step in his direction. And another one. Then Bretta's voice from above. Stage 2 completed, sir. You may now open your eyes. He thought he was prepared. He proved himself wrong. He only realized that when she stepped out from behind the bed and slowly, very slowly, leaning against the wall for balance, came closer. At the first instance, all he could see were her knees. The reason for that was simple, they were still the same, nice, sharp, and magnetic, but those knees of hers were now just a little below his eye level. Actually, they were as high as his shoulders, if not higher. This was way beyond his wildest expectations. Or preparations. After a while, having regained his ability to think, he concluded that all other experiments they'd planned would be a waste of time. He already knew he was turned on beyond limits, like never before. In sexual terms, he couldn't be more excited. Once again, he thanked himself for wearing jeans. This time, however, he wasn't sure the fabric was strong enough to hide his desire. He decided not to describe this finding to Bretta just yet. Science is science, let the research keep its pace. Maybe all those thoughts were provoked by his wish to extend the moment, maybe not, but at some point, he realized the need to say something, and couldn't open his mouth. Or, rather, he couldn't shut it, as his jaw hung open, and he didn't know how to pull it back. Slowly, his gaze started to climb up. Bretta's legs were wrapped in those same pink stockings that ended just above the middle of her thighs. That meant at the level of his forehead. Ever since he'd met her, there had been plenty of instances where he couldn't believe his eyes. This was one of them. The one, in fact. A couple of inches higher was the lower edge of one of the shortest minis she owned. Now, for the first time, it failed to hide her underwear from his view. It was truly incredible to look up at a girl's knickers while standing next to her. And up at the lower edge of her skirt. He tried to look further up, no use, the skirt obstructed the view. He took a step back, she took a step forward.
If you're enjoying the story, or even if you're not, please like or dislike it, share, and leave a comment. positive or negative. They are all welcome. And do visit my page on Patreon, where you'll find new stories as well as the familiar ones. Patreon.com/Alex Steak. Thank you.
Like what you see? Her voice reached him as if from heaven. She must have been fond of the game. Her grin was easily heard. I think so, yes. You? I think so, yes, she echoed. It's unusual. Very strange, you know. The ceiling is too close. Of course it was. When Robin was looking for a new home, he paid extra attention to a feature he'd never considered that important before: how high the ceilings were. In this flat, it was 10 feet, more than enough for any normal person. Or even a tall person. Or even a very tall person. But not for Bretta, not right now, at least. Standing 9'8", she would only need to raise her hand a tiny little bit to touch the ceiling that would stay out of his reach, even if he climbed on the dining table. He took another step back and, with his neck tilted all the way, finally managed to see her breasts. They were unbelievably high, but even higher soaring was her face, which he still couldn't see, this time because of that lovely mile-high bosom of hers. "Hello, love, could you look down, please?" He decided to be a good boy, hoping that a reward for his exemplary behavior would follow soon. Why? Her face nevertheless showed up. And up it was. From his perspective, her hair seemed to be brushing against the 10-foot-high ceiling. It was like the sun coming out of a cloud. "Oh my, you're so small," she giggled, but soon returned to business. "Does our experiment require you to be seeing my face? I thought it would be enough for you to observe my legs and the rest of my body, at least those parts you can see, ha ha, and to draw your conclusions in an impersonal manner, would it not?" Well, not quite like this. Honestly, he had no clue what the experiment required, and he knew even less what should be done now. "I guess your face plays an important role in our research." "Does it?" "As far as I understand, you're establishing what impact women's height has on men's attraction towards them, right? The face shouldn't really matter, I suppose." "Okay, maybe you're right, but you know I love to see your face. And never before have I seen it from such an angle." "This is fair enough," Bretta laughed again. "I love your face too, but, must confess, it's hardly seen from up here." "What are you seeing then?" "Well, have you ever seen a 5-year-old boy standing in front of you? I think it's pretty close to what I'm seeing now." Her head disappeared again from his field of view. Then came back. "Ah, it's wrong, you know." "What's wrong?" "Well, I guess an average 5-year-old should stand about 2 feet 3 or close to it. In this case, he would come up to your hips, right?" She paused, then looked down at Robin and put her hand on his head. "While you don't even come up to my crotch, you really don't, my little love, do you? Therefore, it's rather like you would look down on a 2 or 3-year-old kid. Can you imagine this?" He tried and failed. Could it be that way? Could a fully grown man, a man in his 30s, a well-respected member of society, a successful journalist in addition, look like a 2-year-old boy next to his much younger girlfriend? Isn't it weird? Is this for real? "No, I can't," he confessed at last. "Let's take a look at the mirror." They moved to the wardrobe with sliding doors covered by mirrors on their outer side. The combined area of the looking glass was huge and very wide, wall to wall, but not high enough. Robin could see himself, with that familiar silly look on his face, standing next to 2 endless poles, 3/4 of which were covered in pink. And that was it. The highest point he could observe in the mirror was her belly button. The wardrobe was nearly 7 feet high. Still, the sight was breathtakingly amusing. And sexy. He touched one of the poles, but quickly withdrew his hand, afraid of an uncontrolled explosion in his pants. "I can't see anything except my legs," said Bretta disappointedly. And you, right beside them. It's not quite what I expected. Shall we go downstairs? He agreed, time to get back to business. As they moved towards the stairs, Robin let Bretta go first through the bedroom's door. It was a purely instinctive gesture of genuine politeness, but she stopped, smiled down at him, and said, "Want to see me crouch, my little gentleman? Here you are." All internal door frames in the flat were a foot and a half higher than the standard ones. He had taken good care of that in advance. Now, however, even this super high frame was not high enough. To walk through it, Bretta firstly gave Robin her hand for support, and secondly made a three-point bend, knees, waist, neck. It was something any tall woman lover would kill to see. From what he'd read on the topic, Robin knew that, to them, witnessing the subject of their interest duck through the door was one of the most desirable sights. Another one was to stand on something relatively high and still not be able to look her straight in the eyes. Why is that, he wondered. He didn't know the answer, but was keen to find out. This, as a matter of fact, was the prime reason for the whole experiment. To be continued.
If you're enjoying the story, or even if you're not, please like or dislike it, share, and leave a comment. Positive or negative, they are all welcome. And do visit my page on Patreon, where you'll find new stories as well as the familiar ones. Patreon.com/Alex Steak. Thank you.